Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I am your host, Daniel.
Oh, I'm Garrett.
Darth Garrett.
Hi, I'm Randy.
Masquerade! Paper faces on parade. Masquerade. We're talking about Lego Masters this week, and the challenge this week was to build masquerade masks. Yeah, we can all shed our masks now. It's gonna be horrible for audio and visual quality here
I was starting to freak out
on this episode. We run a real tight professional ship here, so can't have any of that. But yes, we're bringing you another Lego Masters episode review. This is episode 7 of season 5. The Masquerade Challenge. So similar to the Hats Challenge, maybe. Similar to the Dog Show Challenge. Contestants were given 5 hours to build a mask that would cover their face or head in particular to match the costume which they got to select. So what are y'all's initial thoughts about this challenge, about the time they were given, the construction of the challenge? What are y'all's thoughts?
I love all of the wearable challenges, whether it be the hats, the purses from season 4.
I forgot about the purses.
The dog show's a cool one. It's not so much a wearable. They have the kind of the walkway thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm always a big fan of those challenges. That really shows structural building, to be able to make something like that and move around with it.
Absolutely.
It's always a cool concept.
And something that hopefully doesn't hurt you too much.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? How about you, Randy? Initial thoughts on the episode?
I love this challenge. I think it's great. I like the time frame because it felt short, but I think that's kind of fun because it makes them build faster, and then hopefully as we watch it, you get to see them build more.
Yeah.
Which we got a little bit more of this time, less teams and all, but it was great. I love it. I think this is a real fun challenge.
Yeah, and it's very aesthetics driven. I mean, we see a lot of the teams that succeed at these are the ones who really take more of a fashion forward approach. I remember from the hat episode, there was one, I think the one that won was they did a little kind of fascinator style hat, again with the kind of netting thing. It was very, very in vogue. So that's very interesting to see. Whereas if you build a predator mask, maybe it's we'll get there. 5 hours, not a lot of time to build, but they're not particularly large builds. So again, I hate to see very short challenges, but I think it was relatively okay for this one, just with the size. The
sizing and everything.
Yeah.
The runway aspect, again, like you mentioned, very very interesting to see. So let's go ahead and dive right into our teams here. First up was Sage and Ian with their Guardian of the Forest build. This one had lots of cool trees and things coming off of it, as well as some natural scenes. But what are y'all's impressions of the build overall? Thoughts?
The waterfall going down I thought was really cool, and it added some color to it. I actually really like this one. I like how they did the netting with the flowers or the leaves attached to them. I thought it was really cool and really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And it moved because it had the movement to it.
Yeah.
And it came down because they had the wardrobe they picked too to go with it. It just feel like it really was all one piece. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah. The costumes were great for this episode. What I don't understand, because they had them all out there for them to choose them, and they made them run to select which one they wanted, which we've talked about before. Is maybe not the most fair thing, but I wonder with the costume sizings, did they have to have multiple sizes of every?
Because the guy with the arms, there's no way that fit on that guy's arm.
Did they have multiple sizes, or did they have several tailors on scene who were trying to live refit them into these costumes before the?
Maybe they're very stretchy material.
Maybe so.
At least we know where the costume budget went for this season.
Yeah, probably in all
Not
these.
on Amy's outfit this
Went to
episode.
Rose
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Theirs were a little underwhelming, I would say. The judges.
Amy's felt very Amazon Prime. It was so short on
not
her.
Amazon big.
No, not Amazon like the forest.
Not an Amazon woman.
Amazon.
Not a big
Com,
lady.
no.
Yeah, not big lady.
That's what she needed was
Amazon Prime.
She is beautiful, and I love her height, and I love that she wears her heels with her height. And I was like, why would they not add something to the bottom of that dress to not make it 5 inches too short for her?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Amy, her hair looked beautiful though. So.
Yeah, a little tough.
And I don't even remember what Jamie was wearing. It wasn't memorable. Sorry.
Really
Bill Arnett was not wearing anything again either, other than the mustache.
Yeah, his white shirt and his little throwover thing. Yeah,
I'm waiting for one episode. He just doesn't have it anymore and doesn't say anything.
Right? Yeah.
Just disappears.
Everybody just pretends like.
Just disappears. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Their concept on paper didn't. It looked to me like it just had too much going on, which I know the concept arts are drawn actually after the fact based on what they did build. I thought it looked almost like Cthulhu or something with all these like tentacle things hanging off the mouth. But yeah, in practice it looked much better. The little trees that were like coming out of the side and everything were fantastic. The waterfall, the little sun halo.
Yeah, the halo is my favorite part of it.
Good.
Yeah, very cool. What were your other thoughts, Garrett, about this one overall?
I mean, same things. I love the colors. All the branches and stuff was cool. My favorite part was the halo. It made it really stick out, and just it fit the aesthetic they were going with very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is probably my favorite build from Sage and Ian, I would say, this season so far.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can see that. Next up was Anthony and Joe, the teachers. They built Professor Peacock, a nice kind of multi-layered pun there. Yeah, the Clue character, but they're also both teachers, and they did a peacock thing. So yeah, nice multi-layered little joke there. The peacock looked great. Obviously, technically, maybe there were some issues, but what were y'all's builds, or what were y'all's thoughts about this build overall? Let's start with you on this time, Garrett.
I really liked it. At first, I wasn't really liking the beak because it kind of just looked like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I think it was really cool. It was essentially like a full helmet, which was really cool. And then the way the like tail feathers like hung off of the mask and just like supported on the neck was a really cool like building style for what they're doing. You wouldn't do that in a standard Lego set, but to do that for a wearable makes a lot of sense.
To try and attach it rigid probably would have been worse than what they ended up going with, and more risky, because then it would have been pulling the whole helmet off the back of the head. So yeah, it was very interesting the way they chose to do it. But it seemed to work out for them, maybe only just barely. But
yeah, I think aesthetically though, it was one of the best ones in the room easily.
Yeah, I really liked it. How about you, Randy?
I think I loved it. I love the drama that it brought to the whole episode of seeing if that thing was going to fit on.
Yeah.
I like the sizing of it. I actually thought it was really cool. I agree. Like the beak, I was like, and then towards the end, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Do peacocks have beaks that big? I mean, they definitely have a beak.
No, they really don't.
That was like,
but for like
a foot long.
For the masquerade, it's fun.
Yes,
for sure.
The aesthetics of it were cool. Maybe not the accuracy.
The only my thing was like, I love how it attached, and I do think they thought it through really well so that it wouldn't fall off. I was so scared it would. I wish the peacock feathers had more. They just had like these round discs on them, and I wish there was a little more. I understand it was only 5 hours though, so in that aspect I get it. But I really wish, like they were real pretty, like something on there.
One of those gold leaf pieces.
It just needed that part fell a little flat for me, but the rest of it definitely brought it together. So
needed a little bit more of a feathery look to it, maybe. Yeah, but no, I thought it looked great overall. It did fall off backstage as they were. Fortunately, it didn't fall off onto the ground. I think they were making some adjustments, and one of them was holding it, and it just kind of came off. I think it was held on with he said something about the bushing, so I think it was like some Technic bushings that were holding it on there, and maybe some of them popped off, so they had to do a quick fix backstage, but fortunately they're a little lenient with giving them some time to do that. So it did survive the runway. I was pretty surprised.
I was surprised. I was nervous the whole time.
He walked out there and he was so like
it was
slow
very stiff.
with it, and then he's like, okay, it's good.
With his marching band marching style.
Do you know that marching style?
I do. Yeah, roll stepping. Yeah, you gotta roll through. It makes it nice and smooth. That was hilarious. I saw him post on Instagram later something about how he was freaking out that he got to teach Will Arnett how to march, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good build overall. It did survive. The teasers for this episode seemed like there was going to be more carnage and more things dropped,
I agree.
and it really only ended up being the one, which we'll talk about here in a minute, actually, because next up is Ben and Michael with their build, the Forlorn Flora build. This was I'm going to get your thoughts on this first, Garrett, because to me it seemed inspired by maybe some like traditional like Japanese like oni masks or something, or like or maybe just comedy and tragedy.
It was giving me like heavy like theater just mask vibes, but I see what you're saying.
It seemed like there was a hint of like Asian influence in there maybe too.
I like the concept they were going with, and the way like everything could like move. You could do different expressions. It was cool. I don't know, just execution wise, I think I expected more from Ben and Michael at this point, just because from what they've already done. I think this may have been one of the weakest ones for me. This of
episode. Their builds, or the weakest build in the room for this challenge. Yeah, I'm with you.
I didn't, just colors. It didn't feel like, compared to everybody else made like a pretty substantial like head garment, I would say, and theirs felt very just flat and light.
Well, it was lighter when they left the runway than when they entered it.
They started,
But Randy, let me get your overall thoughts on this one.
I agree. I like that it changed, and I like that they thought that through, and I think that's how their processes go that I've seen this season, like their thought process and stuff, and I love that. But it didn't feel masquerade to me. It felt like helmety, more of like it felt like those weird sideburn. It felt like a Trojan helmet, like more than it felt like a masquerade.
I think they mentioned something about that in their concept thing.
So, right?
They mentioned it being like a maybe not a Trojan helmet, but some kind of like warrior helmet or something, and then the mask was on top of that, which I think maybe the plot got a little lost there.
Well, I also think when he came out, as they were walking down, he got a little cocky with how he was bouncing around.
I think so too, and making the adjustments to the eyes and the mouth.
It didn't look good for them. It ended up, and I think the color choices were pretty flat.
Yeah, I think it was one of his bibiceps clipped the little thing that caused it. So it did have some partial breakage there on the floor, which is always good for drama. Those two kind of side flaps.
Yeah, he leaned up to turn the mouth, right?
Off. Yeah, the mutton chops, exactly, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, Ben and Michael, what they always do a great job of is I think they come up with a concept, and then they think, how can we push it one step further by adding a function, a change, something. In all of their builds, they do the build, but also it does this other thing that makes it stand out. And they did that here, but I think it took maybe too much of their attention away from the structural integrity, maybe the color palette, some of those other critical design features. So yeah, a little disappointing to see from them week to week, as well as just in the room overall for the challenge this week. Next up was Maya and Jamie with the Red Dragon build. Randy, let's start with you on this one.
It felt like the pig from that waterfall episode. That's what the snout gave me.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's all I could think of. And then I thought, why are we building a shoebox to put on someone's head?
I think you said right after you said that you came in the next morning. You said, why did we build a square peg to go in a round hole?
I was like, and then I was just thinking the weight. There was no way for it to not fall forward. And I love the idea that they wanted to put a light fixture and stuff in it, but then putting all the stuff in the snout, and I was like, it fell apart quite a few times, and I want to go, it's not working. Pivot, and I think they got some good advice from the judges, but didn't quite take it very well, and it was very red, and just I like the dragon concept. I think it was cool, but it looked like that pig to me from the waterfall episode.
Yeah, I'm with you there. How about you, Garrett?
I really liked this one.
Yeah,
I think this one was really cool. I do agree. I think it might have been a little too boxy, especially for like a helmet / mask. When he walked out, it looked like he was balancing like a bowl of fruit on his head.
He was walking like the most carefully, maybe out of all of them.
But I honestly, I really ended up liking the shaping, and it reminded me a lot of like the Chinese like parade dragons. How those are very boxy too.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, I agree. It just didn't look secure, and compared to what everybody else was doing, which was much more organic.
Yeah.
I would agree on shoebox.
Yeah. I think pretty much most all of the other teams were using some sort of mesh of like mixel joints or something to actually conform to the head shape. And it seemed that Maya and Jamie were just kind of sticking with maybe what techniques that they had used in previous challenges of just how to get volume fast.
Yeah.
Just build
I don't
a big
think
box.
it was a bad build, but it can comparatively.
The front looked great. From the head-on perspective, it was absolutely a great-looking build.
I'm also partial. It gave me Monkey Kid vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
It was cool.
It just did end up looking a little unfinished from the sides and the back. But the face, I agree, looked fantastic. The way they did the horns on, like, flex tubing so that they bowed up, but they had them, like, tied with strings so you couldn't really see it, but it held that kind of rounded shape. So there were a lot of good things going on with it, but... some other issues around the back. Next up was Anne and Luke, the current, as of this episode, owners of the Golden Brick.
Bat Brick?
The Bat Brick, right, sorry. And they built the Warrior Goddess mask, which I think was pretty obviously... It's just a predator.
It's the
It's the predator, right? Yeah. Okay, just making sure it wasn't just me. The Warrior Goddess with her big dreadlocks.
If you ordered it off of... Never mind.
Right. Yeah. We don't need to name any websites on here and give them any more promo than they already have. Yeah. But initial thoughts. Who wants to go first?
It's a good thing they had that golden brick.
Yeah.
It was... the color choices, it was so muted. It was just, I don't know. She couldn't see anything. And it was just, it did not give a masquerade at all.
Yeah.
It was very strange. I don't even know how to describe it. It was such an odd design from the beginning.
It was a Halloween mask, not a masquerade mask.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they just misunderstood
the assignment.
Like
an alien or something, like come up with your own like planet alien helmet or something. Yeah. Could have been cool.
Or even like a space helmet or something.
Not a masquerade.
So at first, it was giving me Tusken Raider vibes.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
And then they put like the visor in, and I was like, oh no, this looks like the Leia like Busha like helmet and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they like the only like thing that gives me Predator from that is the dreads. I'm glad they did the dreads pods.
I mean, that's what I said as soon as they showed the like concept art. I was like, they're building Predator.
Right?
Like, what?
Which I think is a cool concept. I don't think their execution was.
Yeah.
If this was a challenge for like a Halloween mask,
sure,
completely valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't wear a Predator mask to a masquerade.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just wasn't quite on brand for the theme of this week's episode, I think.
It was just very like gappy too. Like there was big like just gaps through the face.
Yeah.
But not where she could see.
Not
where your eyeballs could.
They clearly tried to push the envelope here and do something outside of what was expected, but maybe a little too far outside of what was expected. So yeah, a little interesting. They did end up playing the golden brick as a result, which again you can talk about the game aspect and the strategy behind whether to play it, because were they the worst build in the room and we're going to get sent home?
Yeah.
Pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
If you end up in the bottom two, you lose the golden brick regardless, but it's like, well, you 100% lose the golden brick if you play it versus do you take the chance that you're the third from the bottom and not the second from the bottom?
Yeah.
Do the judges take into consideration the fact that you decided not to play the golden brick when judging? It's like, they didn't play it, so we are going to put them in the bottom two just so that they lose it. You know, there's a lot of Hunger Games almost kind of strategy to it behind the intent of the production of the show, which you could speculate a lot about. But I think it's still probably wise that they played it. So our final team this week was Corey and Rebecca with the Lady Allure mask. This was the one that I think was probably the most kind of fashion forward. Like I mentioned earlier, we had a lot of the gold and the black accents. But let me get y'all's thoughts on this one. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I thought it was so pretty. I think those pink accents on it with the dress yet again, like the whole look, which I thought was part of the challenge. So I really appreciate the two I like. It was like the whole look went together, and it was a whole. And so I loved it, and I do like. I think the bright pink, was it leaves or?
They were like leaf
pieces on the top were just gorgeous, so loved it.
I think that was their pivot after the judges came by. They liked the black and gold, but they were like, you need a little bit more of an accent color for some pop, and they added those like bright magenta leaves, and that really set the whole thing off.
It was so good. I think it was great.
Yeah. How about you, Garrett?
Completely agree. That was the standout for me, was that accent of color really brought their build to life, I think.
Yeah.
It was nice. I liked it. It was, like you said, I think it was one of the more fashion forward ones, and I think they followed, or didn't. I guess it wasn't a rule, but theirs fit the outfit they picked the best. I think. Yeah.
Having the netting, the flexibility adds to it a lot. Same with Sage and Ian as well. Getting some of those flexible materials makes it look a little more natural and less rigid. I actually didn't hate it when it was just the black and gold. I mean, obviously in the setting for this challenge where it's a runway, you need to be able to read it from a further distance. So the accent color did help it a lot. I think one of their other feedbacks that Amy gave them was that it would have been nice. They had the asymmetry, but to have like one other like large like focal point or something, I think that could have done it as well. Maybe having another like hat component or something that goes on the back of the head, or like another large like spike or something to kind of balance it out visually a little bit more. That could have done the trick as well. But overall, this was fantastic. Let's talk about the judging too. So we'll start with the top two here. The top two were Sage and Ian with the Guardian of the Forest, fantastic build, and Anthony and Joe with the Professor Peacock. I think the Corey and Rebecca with the Lady Allure, they were not in the top two. I think they got I think that was a wrong call. I think that should have been a top
I
2
agree.
build.
Yeah.
I think it did.
I think this was a very hard one to pick a top 2.
Yeah.
I think the other 2 that they did pick were also very good. So I don't know. I mean, what was it? Last week or the week before, they just did a top 3 for no apparent reason.
Yeah, it was like, okay, this one I feel like deserved it.
Yeah, this one, if anything, I could have totally seen being a top 3 because all of those were really fantastic.
Yeah.
But what do y'all think? Y'all think that was the correct top 2?
I like Sage and Ian's and Corey and Rebecca's. I really think those 2 were
They should have been the top 2 over Anthony and
but
Joe.
the size, I know why they picked it because of the size and that it fit and everything. So, I mean, I get it. I'm not mad about it. But yeah.
Right. Well, we're here to give our honest opinions.
Yeah, those were my top 2. Just mine.
People don't come here to listen to us all agree with each other. We can have opinions. How about you, Gary?
I think this was the right call for the judging. I don't really have a problem with the 2.
Yeah.
They ended up in top 2. I think they both were very well deserved.
Yes. The win ended up going to Anthony and Joe. So do you all also agree with that? Well, you said
no.
Yeah. So out of your top 2, Randy, then Corey and Rebecca and Sage and Ian, who would you have picked for the winner?
I think Sage and Ian.
Actually,
I would have picked
with the
theirs,
Guardian of the Forest.
Yeah.
That was a really fantastic build.
It
That
was
one really
the halo,
fit with
really.
their
It
costume.
just was so cool, and it felt more masquerade-y to me.
Right.
So,
it had that kind of like Baroque style. Like Baroque art and stuff featured a lot of like nature and stuff, like waterfalls and animals and stuff. So that makes a lot of sense, I would say. I think it paired well. All right, and then next up, our bottom 2 were Ben and Michael, primarily because they were the only ones that had a catastrophe on the actual runway. Again, the teaser for this episode made it seem like there was going to be...
I thought this carnage everywhere.
More carnage, but I guess it was... Maya and Jamie did have at least 2 or 3 breakages, within the last hour. One of them was within the last 5 minutes.
It was, yeah.
And I don't think that was even... Like, we talk sometimes about, do they edit it to make it look like they're doing stuff at the last minute, but, like... They showed it breaking and like Jamie's reaction with the 5 minutes on the timer.
You have all the judges standing there, it's getting close.
That was pretty legit. And like everyone else's reaction, because when they do it in normal episodes, they're like, oh, it's down to the wire, and they're showing people still building as the clock is expiring. With this one, because they had the breakage and they were filming everyone's reactions, all the other teams were pretty much standing around because their builds were done. They were just waiting for time to expire, which I'm sure is more typical for the end of a challenge.
Yeah.
But yes, so our bottom 2, Ben and Michael with their breakage, and then Maya and Jamie with the red dragon, mostly just for the unfinished look around the back. Again, sadly, Maya and Jamie were the team that had to go home this week, but that is the nature of things on a reality contest show. So what do y'all think about this judging for the bottom 2 and the team that was sent home? Do you think this was the right call this week, or do you disagree?
I think Ben and Michael kind of had to be in the bottom just because of breakage in front of the judges.
Right.
I don't think they needed to be sent home. I think the right call was made. They are great builders. Everybody knows that.
Right.
I am upset to see Maya and Jamie go because I did really enjoy the Red Dragon build, but I can't say there's been anything else that's really stuck out to me that they've done. So I think this was the right call. It's unfortunate. It gets harder and harder when you get down to the wire like this. It's such few teams. Yeah,
these people have spent a lot of time with each other. And we've spent a lot of time watching their builds and getting to know them. So it's hard to see them go. But I think it was the right call for this week. How about you, Randy?
I think it was the right call. As soon as Ben and Michael were picked, you knew they weren't going to go home because they've done such good stuff. And and they deserve. I hope it humbles them a little bit because I think they got a little cocky this episode. So I think if they want to keep where towards the top, maybe it'll humble them a little bit. But I think the right team went home. I do think it was really sweet at the end though because it seemed like you could tell the groups have become really close and everything, and everybody seemed upset for them to go and everything. So. It's always a moment. I'm always like, Amy's gonna cry.
she cries on the first episode.
I know, right?
When they send somebody home. But they had a great team dynamic. First ever father-daughter team on LEGO Masters was super neat to see. So good for them. I think it was a great showing from them. So we're sad to see them go, but I think we all agree it was the right call this week.
I do think their outfit choices were great because, man, if anybody I know ever goes on LEGO Masters, I'm going to say you're in the medical field so you can wear scrubs every day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Whatever you do, don't say you're a firefighter. Yes. Was it last season before? Steven and Steven, they had to wear their, fancy, the dress outfits. Oh my gosh, that looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah. I was just like, dude, that's genius right there. Getting to wear scrubs every day.
Scrubs, I'm sure, much more comfortable than whatever else they'd try and put you in.
The dynamic of the father-daughter, I think, was fun for this season. So that was good to have.
Yeah, for sure. No real other twists this week.
No.
It was they kind of just let them do their thing, which I think most of us like to see. You know, just let the builders build. Don't mess with them. But yeah, so that was pretty much it for this Masquerade Challenge. But coming up next week on LEGO Masters, this is very cool. A 90s themed version of the 1-to-1 replica challenge, which we have seen before.
Yes.
Once or twice. Have they done this? Yeah. So I'm thinking they've done this twice before.
They must have done it. Okay.
I really like these challenges. I think it's really cool
great.
to try and build like a hyper-realistic real-world object with the goal of fooling somebody's eyes from a distance. So, y'all excited for this one as well? What are your thoughts about this one?
90s themes. I grew up in the 90s, so yeah. I think
it's gonna be cool. Expect somebody to build a Walkman.
Right.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I already know that's going to be something somebody does.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think the big preview we saw was Ann and Luke are the ones who were going for the really
bed?
ambitious one with the entire bed.
Crazy.
Why would you? I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. It's not artistically that interesting to build. So I guess if you're just going on size,
it's
I don't
the same thing as
most of these things aren't in these challenges.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like the rug. How it was just so impressive the amount of bricks they were.
Yeah.
That was what, Sam and Nina? Who did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Sam and Nina.
The amount of bricks they were able to put down was insane.
Yeah.
And I think that was the one where a lot of the other teams ended up like helping them out.
Yeah.
Which is like really interesting with the rules of the competition. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this a lot.
Yeah.
The advantage that they had with the rug was because the person judging it was standing from a far distance. Looking into the room, the rug actually takes up a very low profile. You're looking across it. The bed has height, so you're going to be looking at the side of it, and it's going to be shiny and made of plastic.
Right.
So I don't know.
And it showed already the top of it bowing down. Because I'm that's a lot of structure you got to build under there.
We will see how it works out for the next week. I am very excited for this challenge. Excited to see what the teams will concoct and build. So be sure to come back next week for our review of that episode. But otherwise, thank you for joining us for this episode of Between the Studs and this LEGO Masters episode review. Thank you to Garrett and Randy for joining me for this episode as well. Please leave a like on this video as well. Let us know down in the comments if you think the judging was right or wrong for this episode. What other teams you'd like to see, who you think is going to make it to the finals at this point. Again, we're down to only 5 teams, so we're looking at only 2 more eliminations before the finals. So let us know your predictions for the finals. But thank you again for watching this episode, and we will see you next time on Between the Studs. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.